Welcome to this class overview for the Embermage from Torchlight 2. We're going to go through the skills and abilities and show you just what makes the Embermage tick. We'll start out with the skill trees, and we'll start with the Inferno skills. Now, as you can probably guess, this is all about the burninating of the people. So we've got Magma Spear, which sets people on fire. We've got Magma Mace, which has a chance to stun the target and set them on fire. We've got Fire Bombs, which reduces movement and sets them on fire. We've got Blazing Pillar, which plain sets people on fire. Infernal Collapse, which knocks people back but sets them on fire. Immolation Aura, which sets people on fire. You can see where this is going. The entire tree is based pretty much around massive damage and sustained damage over time with fire spells. There is a little bit of crowd control in this tree, but not a great deal of it. You're more about nuking them down before they get to you than controlling them. This is reflected as well in the passive skills. If you look at the Charge Mastery passive in this tree, you gain charge quicker and lose charge slower. Now, charge on the Embermage. The Embermage gains charge by damaging enemies. When the charge bar is full, the Embermage achieves total concentration for 12 seconds. During this period, skills cost no mana and skill damage is increased by 25%. So, for 12 seconds, you can set fire to everybody and anybody for free over and over again. It's all about the damage. It's fairly low on crowd control, it's fairly low on escape mechanisms. You're there to just wipe everything off the face of the earth using horrible, horrible flames. Now, if we move across to the Frost Tree, this is more of a crowd control kind of tree. It's a very traditional skill tree. The Frost Mage is quite popular in RPGs and fantasy games. And you can see that the basis of it is to keep the enemies under control. With the first ability, there's a chance to freeze and a chance to immobilise. With the second ability, there's a chance to stun and a chance to freeze. Your escape mechanism, Frost Phase, has a chance to does knock back, and has a chance to freeze as well. You can see where this is going. Most of the abilities in this tree have some form of slow, stun, freeze, knockback, you name it. It's all about the crowd control. Right down to the passives in this tree. Frozen Fate. When you kill an enemy, you have chance to freeze up to 4 additional enemies within a 7 meter radius. The Frost Tree is all about keeping them slowed, keeping them away from you, keeping mobs basically from being incapable of doing anything because they're either frozen in place, or they're stunned, or they're rooted, or they're slowed. You name it, the Frost Tree is the crowd control king. Now, if we move over to the Storm Tree, we've got a mix of interesting abilities here. Prismatic Bolt does a variation of different types of damage. There's fire damage, ice damage, electric and poison. Shocking Burst is electric damage, but has a chance to stun and cause an explosion on deaths. You've got so many different aspects in this tree. There's also a bit of healing, self-healing and healing for allies. Using Death's Bounty, when a foe dies, their life and mana are drawn to you or other players through 3 soul bolts. So the Storm skills are sort of one thing nor the other. It's a mix of control of different elemental damages and different abilities that might not necessarily wipe out enemies straight away, but can damage and control, can keep them away from you but still hurt them. You've got the passive for this is Prismatic Rift. If you look at that. Your chaotic energy teleports enemies away when they strike you with a chance of random elemental effects. It's very much a gamble tree. You might not be entirely sure what you're going to get, but you will always get a consistent amount of crowd control and damage. You might not be sure where it's coming from or who it's going to hit, but it's a chaotic kind of tree. The important thing, I think, with this particular tree is that although it looks to be a mix of the other trees, it does have its individual strengths, because you're not pumping out loads of damage, but you're not doing nothing but crowd control. There's a healthy mix of both. Now, if we just take a look at the character panel, you'll see that this mage has understandably started out with a focus on focus. A little bit of a joke there. Now, focus is the thing that increases mana and elemental damage. It's the most important stat, by far. If you're going Inferno, you'll want to go focus. You want to put most of your points in focus. Maybe a bit in vitality. Possibly a little in dexterity if you feel you want dodge chance. But really, it's focus all the way. Even with the Frost Tree, you want to be piling it into focus. Even with the Storm Tree, you want to be piling it into focus. The mage is all about the mana and the spells. So it's important to not really get sidetracked. Because if you play to the strength of the tree, then you have no need for dexterity, you have no need for vitality. The odd point in vitality will do. Everything really needs to go into focus, because the job of the Embermage is simply to pile damage out from afar. If they want to nuke down straight away, it's Inferno. If they want to control the enemy, giving them more time to land those nukes and those spells, it's the Frost Tree. If you're crazy and just want to see what happens, you go for the Storm Tree. I hope the guide's been helpful. Make sure to click all the links in the description, subscribe, like, comment, and we'll see you next time.